Hi folks, this is Jimmy up here on the mountain with all this cave art. I have some buffaloes here for you. This here's a very old stone, and I say that because of this image. This is a buffalo, I believe. It's shaped like one. It looks like one from the other side. It's an old stone. I have a buffalo here. But this one on this side has a relief carved in it. And the animal's head has its mouth open with a tongue sticking out. And it's exactly like a reindeer antler, 39,000 years old, the same carving on it. It's claimed to be 39,000 years old. It has the open mouth with the tongue sticking out. This side, it's a buffalo. And this side, it's a buffalo with a relief on it. You see the double horns on it. That's why I think this one's pretty old. The image itself is the same exact image on that reindeer antler. That's 39,000 years old. Came from Europe or Germany. Crazy, isn't it? This cave art. This here is a grinding stone. It has a great surface on both sides, shaped like a grinding stone. It's also a buffalo. Very nice piece. And it's shaped like an aircraft carrier. They've made some grinding stones like that. And this one's just a nice buffalo. And you can see the real great surface on it. You could use for grinding whatever. I brought this one out because I wanted to show this buffalo. And it looks a lot older, the stone. It's a lot more pitted looking. To me, it looks older. I wouldn't even know how to tell you why, but it does have that image on it that's very old and ancient. And it was in the mind of the artist who carved this stone. And it's an incredible relationship between the one on the reindeer antler carved by ancient people so long ago. That's what my little octopus stone. Bird. It's another grinding stone shaped like a bear. Here's the parrot. It's also a serpent. This is a serpent wand, serpent head. That's a serpent. It's also a wand, I guess. You can use it for grinding on this surface. It also has a very cool parrot on it. Let's see if we can see it. This would be the outline of the wing, the parrot's head. And this is a classic outline of the way they carve birds into stones, and they make it come up a little bit here where the tail would be. This is a blue whale. Yeah, they carved whales here. Scary people. This is a white quartz with pink in it, and it's a bird and her chick in the nest. So I put it in a grinding stone that looks like a nest. This stone is, its purpose is, I guess you'd haft it. It's an axe, like that. It's very sharp here. You could haft it and cut small saplings and trees with it, but it is a very beautiful pink color. And I guess they saw birds in it, baby birds. That's what they did. They saw things in stone, in the color itself. And they carved into the stone what they saw into it already. And I guess the white and the pink caused them to think of a chick in the nest with the mother. Pretty cool. And this one is just a scary skeleton head. It's a dark gray quartz, really nice stone. And this is just this guy looking at you. Pretty cool. They also did a lot of turtles. And turtles represented to them a division between, I'd say 2 worlds, but I'm going to say 3 because they represented it in 3 worlds. And the turtle would be the shell, the turtle living under the water, and underneath that, the earth. And this was a snapping turtle, alligator snapper. And you find that they represent the separation between 2 worlds, above the water, below the water. And the turtle always sat on the earth, the hard earth. Sea turtles, they did a lot with fins, a lot of fins. Whales, sea turtles. But this is what gets me, this old image right there. And if you research it, you'd find the reindeer antler with that image on it. But they also did octopus and other things. They put people in stones also. Quite often. And whatever they saw in the stone, they pull out and try to say what they were trying to say. And the more I look at it, the more I see a message in everything. Cave art on stone. I found this guy in an old stone wall. He was built into the wall. He was in there for so long, he wanted to get out. There's a face on the other side also. It's pretty worn out. That's the bird's head. That's his wing. And that's a grinding bowl. Very beautiful bird. The bird's wing just surrounds the bowl. That's a hawk bull, flying bird. You can see the outline, the head, the wing, the tail. That's a bull also. The things here are very hard to find, duplicated anywhere else. This was a special place. The stone here was special, so they used it. But the images here are not dissimilar to images I see in other places, but they're very ancient images, gone long ago, out of the minds of people. We don't think like this anymore. But this image here, in the mind of the artist who carved it, is the same image in the mind of the artist who carved the one 39,000 years ago. Same exact image. That's not a coincidence, I don't believe. Two different continents. These were serpent people here, and they were highly intelligent and artistic. They carved a language into stone, a beautiful one. They made beautiful things, beautiful stone. And many of their grinding stones were this shape, big, small. Many were this shape, but they put as much artistic flair as they could into everything they did. And stone was their canvas. And we can understand, if we look at the images, what they were thinking, I believe. That's my premise here. The temporal mind of these people through their art that they put on their stone. That's what I believe. And you can see in their stone that they were very, very, very talented. And if you change your perspective and take your mind from the squared paintings hung on walls that we look at all the time, and the images on the TV and the computer screens, and look into the stone as if it were a cave painting in relief, and take that relief and look at it, and look at the meaning in it. Repetition in images can tell something about what people were thinking and what was important to them. And repetition in images over time can tell you something, I believe. And if you see the same image over and over time, it meant something for a long time to people and over different continents. But many of the things here are completely original, like this parrot and the wing, the head, the wing. That's how they portrayed birds in stone. The wing would be like this, and it'd be a little up where the tail would be. This is also a serpent head. That's a serpent right there. That's where his fangs would be, under here. His open mouth and his fangs. And it looks like you'd take the bird end of it, and you'd have this serpent head, and you turn it over and you have a grinding surface. You could also use it, I'm sure, for, I don't know, a weapon maybe, but probably wasn't. Looks like a very important piece to someone because they took a long time to create it, and it's a beautiful piece. You wouldn't want to break it. They took a lot of time creating it. This piece looks like it's been around forever. It was obviously used for something. some type of tool, but definitely buffalo. This one doesn't look as damaged, but it is a real piece of hard quartz. It's not going anywhere. It was in the garden, just under dirt. I believe it was in the garden. It's just a piece of white quartz with this beautiful surface on it. And it reminded them of buffalo. So they made their grinding stone into a buffalo that has two different surfaces they could have used. And it's a nice piece. You know, when they're not using it, it's very nice to look at. All right, blue whale in a piece of blue quartz. It looks like the ocean in the sunlight. They did a lot of whales here. That just happens to be one in stone. This is an octopus. That's what they carved into this. You see it? It's even got the curled up tentacles. And I find more of these. It's not the only one. That's why I can say it's an octopus. This side, this little bird, it's got they left the natural stone on, and this side is the quartz side. It's a little surface. The tool, I think they like the stone. They like yellow, the white quartz that has the gold and yellow in it. And they make things out of it. And they probably use this for something, you know. Made a little bird out of it. Because every stone had its own personality and power. And you can tell a little bit about age, I guess, by the animals in the stone. If there's elephants in it, you may think they were looking at elephants and saw them, mammoth or mastodon. So when they found a very hard stone that they were going to use, they'd put the power of the elephant in it. That's what they would do. The triangle head. And someone found this stone. They use this side as a surface. It's also a work of art. Everything to them was a work of art. Even just the beauty in the stone. But they would shape it into a hard stone, into an elephant. Because that's what they saw in the stone. Find lots of them here, elephants. And we find lots of this here. This type of quartz. It goes from everything from pure white to this glassy to orange. There is orange in the quartz, like on this side. This is coming out of the quartz. And that's why they used this piece, I think. And a lot of the real nice pieces have the color to it, like this. And they would carve them into whatever they felt like they needed to, I guess. One more piece. This piece is a grinder. It's just a grinder. Excuse me. What was interesting is the relief on it. Looks like some sort of animal. To hold, it's like a thumb hold. I think this ear is broken off or horn. But the relief is cut out of the stone. Look, think of it as a pillar in the ground. That Gobekli Tepe, where the pillars had reliefs on them. And I say that because it's usually what they do is they leave the relief coming out of the stone, and they use angles. This one's carved right out of the piece, and they needed a handle, but I don't see as much of that as I see as um, putting images into the stone. It looks more like a cave painting than a relief cut out of a stone. I, I know there's a difference somehow, but this is the only one I found like this, and it's broken. But it is an animal on there, I think, some sort of animal, a crude image. But the important thing is they carved it down to a relief, and that's a type of art, and a technique. When this is also the same thing, you can see the bird in there. They used the stone itself to create the bird and the image and the feeling of the bird. And this side's a different surface they were using, and they created the bird silhouette. But this isn't carved out of a stone, like it's not carved out of a stone and placed on top. It doesn't come out of the stone that way. They carved the whole stone to be like a small cave painting. I don't know what I'm saying, as far as if it's real important, but to me it looks like a difference, because there's images in these stones, and if you hit the light just right and you turn the thing, you'll see what the artist was intending for that surface. Sometimes you don't see anything. Sometimes there's nothing there, but it's more subtle than carving it right out of the block of stone into a relief like that was. But that was done intentionally to make a handle to hold this piece of this tool here. I haven't really found anything that looks similar to that. I find a lot of grinding tools and surfaces, but nothing with release on them like that. I don't know if it's a change in tool making style, but I don't find a lot of this, or any of it. So I don't think that's it. This is a tool. It's just basically a grinding tool, but it is a tool. And the grinding tools had that little notch, like a little aircraft carrier. But they made this one a buffalo, and it's beautiful. Put a point on this side to use for whatever reasons you might need it for. And it's pleasurable to look at. It's a beautiful thing. These were serpent people. No one knows who they were. They carved their images into stone. Very weird. Scary, almost. Scary real. Because you can get into the temporal mind of a people through their art. Everyone stood in front of a painting and tried to understand what the artist was telling you. Same thing here. But you have to change your perspective to see things on stone rather than a canvas up on a wall. And once you do, this whole world opens up to you of cave art on stone. And this place just happens to have stone like this. It happens to have white quartz and all kinds of other stone, but they loved it here. They had a ball here. They could make stone and trade it up the river, make tools. And they got good at it, so they carved all kinds of cool things into their tools. And you can tell over and over again the same image, what these people were thinking, just like us. If we carved our images, that's how they could tell us 1,000 years from now, by our images that we carved most of. They were wonderfully carved. But all the edges on that bowl, I set it up, but you set it down, and it's a bowl, like a grinding surface. But it sits like a bowl, and you can hold it in your hand like a bowl. Like this one sits mostly on the ground or between your legs, and it's a grinding surface. That one's a bowl, grinding surface. but they're well carved, and they all have birds in them usually. I mean, everything's got birds. That one seems to be a bear of some kind or animal, but I'm sure there's birds in it if I look. What do you think, folks? Cave art on stone. It's a wonderful thing. Cave art on stone. This is Jimmy on the mountain with the buffaloes. I hope I find some more images like this. 39,000-year-old image. Right there. Here, these people keep getting older and older, it seems. Right from that image there alone. That image is a 39,000-year-old Ice Age image found on a reindeer antler. And we have one here that the serpent people carved on a mountaintop quarry in Vermont thousands of years ago. This is Jimmy on the mountain with the buffalo. Thank you.